and let them join. We'll start with the prayers. Okay? Gajananam bhutaganati sevitam kapita jambu palasara pakshitam umasutam shoka vinasa karanam namami vigneshwara pada pankajam. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So welcome to this session 4 today. Swagatam. As usual, we will start with the Guru Parampara prayer. Sada Shiva Samarambam Sankaracharya Madhyamam Asmat Acharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Okay. We will review what we learned in last session. Okay? Do you remember we learned something in session 3 which covered the basics of grammar. Sanskrit grammar is different, and we had a very quick glance of what are the basics of grammar, like how many persons are there, how many genders are there. It is got singular, dual, and plural. So there are 3 persons, 3 numbers, first person, second person, third person, and 3 numbers. We also learned what are dhatus. So they are roots, and from which you build up words. Simple roots from which we build up words like bricks, one over the other, and we build up verbs as well as nouns. And that is a speciality of Sanskrit. And we learned something about verbs. Not fully, but verbs is a very detailed subject. We are going to deal with it today. We learned a little bit about verbs and then a concluding prayer. This is what we learned in our last session. Let's see what we want to do today. Now, what we want to do is give a quick review of the first, second, and third persons we learned last lesson, just to make sure that you have understood it and you are able to apply it properly. We're going to see what are the categories and classification of verbs. Also going to see some of the features of verbs. I'm going to give you a quick summary of the important features of Sanskrit verbs. Also, we're going to learn about Karakas and Shabdas, which are very important part of the verbs. And I'm going to give you some examples of how to use the verbs. And as usual, we'll have a nice verse and a concluding prayer. So that is the goal for today. Let's see how we are going to do that. Remember persons last time? First person, aham. Aham is I. I, the first person. And tvam means you. Tvam. And saha is referring to a third person, which is referring to a masculine gender, he, saha. And sa is referring to she. So in simple terms, I, aham, you, tvam, sahai, and sa, she. So these are 4 words, 4 little terms, first person, second person, third person, which you'll be using very often. Okay, let's go to the next. Third person. we have to give a little detail because there is singular, dual, and plural. You say saha, he, dual is thou. Two, there is a similarity, tu and thou. Easy to remember, tu and thou. And if it is more than two, they all. Likewise, in feminine gender, you have sa, te, and taha. Neutral gender, tat, like that, tat, it. Two means te, and tani, tani is those all. Now, there you find te is appearing in 2-3 places. How to distinguish? It depends on the context. Depending on the context, you have to understand how to use te. So, in Sanskrit, you have 15 expressions to describe person and gender as against 7 in English. So, it's a little more complicated. Okay, let's see what are the ways of grouping Sanskrit. You have a group called Dasha Gani. Dasha means 10. Gana is a group. 10 groups. So verbs are categorized into 10 different groups. Based on what? Based according to the roots. According to the roots. You see that to the roots, I put it in red, to the roots, and called Dasha Gani. Each Gana or category is headed by one dhatu, a root. Like for example, you see Bu, Adha, Hu, Divu. These are dhatu roots. From Bu comes Bhava. So the roots are what forms the Gana. So there is a very interesting verse. You don't have to remember by heart, but this gives you the Dashagana. This is a verse, 2 lines. It says, Bhavat Yadadi, Juhot Yadihi, Divadihi, Swadi Revacha, Tudadischa, Rudadischa, Tanadihi, Kri Churadayaha. It's a little complicated verse, but you don't remember heart. What is important here, this is giving all the 10 roots. Like Bhavatyadi means Bu and Ada. Johodyadi is Who. Divadi is Diva. Likewise, Swa, Reva, Tuda, Ruda. These are the different root categories. So you have those 10 root categories, what are called Dasha Gani. Okay, don't worry too much about it. I'm just giving you that this is a grouping or categories based on roots of Sanskrit dhatu. Dasha Gani. Okay, let's see what's next. You also have another classification of verbs based on the tenses, like present tense, past tense, future tense, past perfect. Depending on the tenses and the moods, the verbs get classified into what is called lakaras. You see it in red, lakaras, which describe the tenses and moods. And they're like Dashagani, there are 10 of them. There are 6 tenses. Since they all start with la, they are called lakaras. Like latu means referring to present tense. Lut, lung, lut, lung, referring to past, perfect, remote, and conditional. You also have a future perfect and also describing 4 different moods. Here also you have a very interesting verse. lat vartamane, late vede, bhute, lunka lanka litastada. Vidyasi shostu, linka lato, luta lata lankacha bhavishyataha. You don't have to remember its verse, but this is a verse which gives you all the 10 lakaras, 6 tenses and 4 moods. So there is a 10 lakaras classification of verbs which denote the tenses and moods. Okay, now let's go to the summary of this. What are the summary features of Sanskrit verbs? You have 3 persons. First person is called Uttama Purusha. First person, I. I is probably the best one, therefore you call Uttama Purusha. The second person is he, which is a Madhyama Purusha. And third person is called Prathama Purusha. So you have these 3 persons, which is one of the features, like English, you have in Sanskrit too. And then you have 3 numbers, which we described last time: singular, dual, and plural. 1 person, 2, and more than 2. Dual is not there in English, but you have it in Sanskrit. Then you have 10 ganas, dashagani, which is based on roots. And lastly, you have those 10 lakaras, which are based on tenses and moods. So these are the features of verbs: 3 persons, 3 numbers, 10 ganas, and 10 lakaras. Okay, these are the features. Let's see how important a verb is. In every sentence you have, verb is the most important because it is describing an action. So you have a term called Karaka. Karaka means instrument of action. It means to signify, to mean. And Karaka becomes very important because that only explains what action is being done. Like I walk, I go, I read, I run, I eat. Everywhere, the verb only denotes what you do or what somebody else does. So the verbs have got a very exhaustive, very extensive treatment in Sanskrit. And it has got more than 4,000 rules. It is very complex. But don't worry, you don't have to worry too much about it. You just have to know that there are over 4,000 rules. But you will gain some knowledge about them as we go along. And in early days, the students used to repeat it every time to memorize it. But nowadays, you don't have to do that because we want to learn Sanskrit the easy way, and we want to really appreciate the poetry. We want to appreciate the verses. We should be able to understand some of the nice scriptures. So the idea is not to really make up a conversation and compose, but idea is to be able to appreciate the beauty. So we don't have to worry too much about it, just to know that it is not easy. It has got many rules, thousands of rules. Okay, so that's the importance of verbs given in Sanskrit. Verb is a very important thing. So the Karakas, I'd like to explain a little more by giving you one example. You see a boy there reading. The boy is reading a book. How do you say it in Sanskrit? You say Balakaha patati pustakam. Balakaha, reference to the boy. Even though you say the boy is, there are 3 words in English, but there's only 1 word in Sanskrit, Balakaha. Reading, patati, a book, pustakam. The subject here is balakaha, the boy. The verb which is given in red is patati. And what is he reading? A book. You don't say a book, just pustakam. It's enough. A book is 2 words, but pustakam is only 1 word because pustakam itself means 1 book. So you have against English 6 words, you have only 3 words in Sanskrit. You see, the boy is reading a book is 6 words. In Sanskrit, you say balakaha patati pustakam, only 3 words. It means the same. So the subject here, karta, is the doer. Who is reading? The boy is. Therefore, he is called karta. And what is he doing? Reading. That becomes action. That is called kriya. And what is he reading? A book, which is become the karma or the object. So you have a karta, you have a kriya, and you have a karma. 3 little things. So karakaka means action, such as reading here, patati, and the position of the verb can vary. You have to say in English, the boy is reading a book. You cannot say the boy is a book reading. It will not make any sense. But in Sanskrit, you can. You can say balakaha pustakam patati. You can change the verb. And the verb can come at the end. So here, balakaha pustakam patati means also the boy is reading a book. If you say balakaha patati pustakam, also it means the same. Do you see the difference between English and Sanskrit here? So the verb position can vary, which is a very important feature in Sanskrit. And shabda, or the base or root of all noun forms, such as to the boy, by the boy, for the boy, and from the boy. These are all different forms of the nouns. They are called shabdams. And you will know more about this shabdam as we go on. So there are 2 important aspects. One is a karakaha, which is the action. And the second one is referring to all the noun forms, which is shabda, which refers to the boy or by the boy, for the boy, from the boy, and so on. Okay. So the karakahas and the shabdas are 2 important aspects of verb in Sanskrit. Okay, let's go further. You see the arrangement, it is amazing in Sanskrit. For example, if you say Vidya reads a book, it means Vidya pustakam patati. You can also say pustakam Vidya patati. You can put pustakam as first, Vidya second, and patati. You can also say pustakam patati Vidya pustakam. You can shift the verb. It does not change the meaning. Rama sa Govinda. Rama Govindam pasyatu. You can also change Govindam Ramo apasyatu. Apasyatu Ramo Govindam. So you see how you can play the verb here and there, all meaning the same thing, but you can't do that in English. You have to use only a definite form of a sentence. Okay, having said that, let's go to the next slide. What are the basics of forming a sentence? You know, in every sentence, you have to have a noun, a verb, an action, but there must be agreement between the 2. You have to say in English, for example, the boy reads a book. You cannot say the boy read. He read a book, because read will become past tense. Or the boys reads means it will be again not agreement. So there must be agreement between the words, the noun and the verb. They have to have agreement. Similarly, in Sanskrit, you have to also agree with the gender. In English, you say he reads a book, she reads a book. But in Sanskrit, the gender also is important. So you have to have three agreements. One is the gender, the second is the number, and the third one is a tense. All the three should agree. Similarly, adjectives also must agree, must take the same gender, number, and case. For example, if you say it's a beautiful house, a good house or good houses, you say Shobhanani Grihani. Shobhanani Grihani. The adjective is also like a subject. Same thing if you say from good houses is Shobhanebhyo Grihebhyaha. So you see how the adjective is taking the same form as the noun. Shobhanebhyo Grihebhyaha. Shobhanani Grihani. Shobhanebhyo Grihebhyaha. So you have to have agreement between the gender, the number, the adjective, and the tense. So this is how the sentence gets formed. So these are some of the basic rules in forming sentence. Okay, let's go to the next one. Let's see how the verbs get formed from root. I'm just going to give you one example here, which is the root kru. Kru means to do. From kru, you get karane, means to do. You also get karomi, which is the present tense, I do. I do, karomi. Karoti, he does. Second person. Kurute, they do. Kim, what? All these come from one root here, which is kru. Kru, karane, karomi, karoti, kurute, kim. All these come from one root, which is small one called kru. How to use this? Now, if you have to ask a question to a boy, you say, Bhavan kim karoti. What do you do? Bhavan kim karoti. What do you do? I can say, Aham adhyapaka asmi. Aham adhyapakaha asmi. I am a teacher. Asmi. Supposing you were to ask a girl or a woman, what do you do? Here, the sentence is different. In English, it's the same. You can ask the same question to a boy or a girl, what do you do? But here, if you're asking a lady, you have to say, Bhavati kim karoti. You see that? Bhavan becomes Bhavati. That's a feminine gender. Bhavati kim karoti. She can say, Aham adhyapika asmi. It is not adhyapakaha. In English, the answer is same. I am a teacher. But in Sanskrit, you say aham adhyapika asmi. You see the difference? Bhavan, bhavati. Adhyapaka, adhyapika. The difference in gender. So the answers also are different, like the questions. But in English, you have the same question, what do you do? Answer is the same, I am a teacher. Okay, this is one example. Let's see if I can give you one more example. From the root, you can say, Bhavataha nama kim. What is your name? Bhavataha nama kim. This is when you're addressing a boy. If I am asking you, it will be Bhavataha nama kim. What is your name? And you can say, Mama nama Rishabha. My name is Rishabha. Or you can say, my name is Rama. Rama. Mama nama Ramaha. That is, if addressed hereby. Supposing it's a girl, you can't say Bhavataha Namakim, even though in English you say, what is your name? Here it becomes Bhavatyaha Namakim. Bhavatyaha Namakim. What is your name? And she can answer, Mama Nama Sita. You see, Bhavataha, Bhavatyaha. Bhavataha used in masculine gender. Bhavatyaha is used in feminine gender. Let's go further. How do you use simple verbs? For example, let's say I'm drinking. I say, Aham pibami. Pibami. If you are drinking, you say, Tvam pibasi. You are drinking. You see, in English, drinking is same. In all the examples, drinking, 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 same. But in Sanskrit, it varies depending on who is doing it. Aham pibami means I am drinking. Tvam, not pibami, but pibasi. You are drinking. And if it is a girl or a lady, you say, Sa pibati. She is drinking. It becomes pibati, which means when you say pibati, you are referring to a lady or a girl. Saha pibati. He is drinking. Second person. Ka pibati. Who is drinking? So drinking here in English is same, but in Sanskrit you have the verbs differently. Pibami, pibasi, pibati. You see the difference? Okay, let's say another verb like kridati is playing. Aham kridami. I am playing. Tvam kridasi. You are playing. Sita kridati. Feminine gender. Sita kridati. If you are going to use plural, then becomes taha kridanti. In English, the verb is only playing, irrespective of who it is. It can be me or you or they. But here you have 4 different verbs. Kridami, kridasi, kridati, kridanti. You see the difference? The 4 different. So when you say kridanti, you know it is plural. Ta, kridanti. Let's go and see some more example. Sitting. Upavishati means sitting. Aham upavishami. I am sitting. Tvam upavishasi. You are sitting. Yeshaha. You point out to somebody else. Yeshaha upavishati. He is sitting. English, the verb is only sitting, whoever it is. But here you have 3 different verbs. Upavishami, referring to myself. Upavishasi, referring to you. And upavishati, to another person. He's sitting. Likewise, if you take the verb speaking, in English it's only speaking, vadati. But in Sanskrit you have aham vadami, I am speaking. Tvam vadasi, you are speaking, you say tvam vadasi, not vadami, vadasi. Ramaha vadati, third person. Te vadanti, they are speaking. You see, speaking here is in 4 different terms. Vadami, vadasi, vadati, and vadanti. So, you have verbs in different categories depending on who is the gender and what is the number, whether it is 1 or 2 or plural. Okay? Let's see. One more example. Aham pashyami. I see. Tvam pashyasi. Saha pashyati. Vayam pashyamaha. We see. Likewise, if you are standing, aham tishtami. Tvam tishtasi. Sa tishtati. Vayam tishtamaha. We stand. Te tishtanti. You see, English you say see, but you have 4 different varieties here. Pashyami, pasyasi, pasyati, pasyamaha. Likewise, standing, tishtami, tishtasi, tishtati, tishtamaha, tishtanti. You see the variety? So each case is different. Okay. One more example. I laugh. Aham hasami. Tvam hasasi. Sa hasati. Vayam hasamaha. Ta hasanti. One word laugh has got 5 different notations. Hasami, hasasi, hasati, hasamaha, hasanti. Likewise, if you say remember, smara. I remember, aham smarami. She remembers, sa smarati. The 2 of us remember, tau smaravaha. And then lastly, te smaranti. They remember. So you have 4 different words, 4 different usage of simple verbs. Okay, let's go to some simple sentences. How to make simple sentences. Normally you meet somebody, you say, how are you, right? Here in Sanskrit, you say, kushalam va. Only 2 words, kushalam va. How are you? Or you can ask, katam asti bhavan. How are you? Katam asti bhavan means how are you? If you say everybody is fine, all are well, you say sarve kushalam. Sarve kushalam. If you want to say what news, what's up? Ka varta. Ka varta means what news. If you say no news, nothing, na varta. See, how was it? Katam asit. Katam asit. How was it? Is it over? Not yet. Samaptam va. Samaptam means end or over. Samaptam va is a question. Is it over? No, na samaptam. Okay, very, very simple sentences which we will start using it in future. Now let's see a very nice verse here. This is a beautiful verse which has a moral in it. Paropakaraya phalanti vrikshaha. Para upakaraya. Upakara means helping others. Upakaram. You know, from karam comes from the root kru. Upakaraya is helping. Param means others. Paropakaraya. Phalanti. Phalam is fruit. Vrikshaha means tree. The tree is giving fruits to help others. Let's take apples, bananas, whatever fruits you have. The tree doesn't eat even one of them. The tree gives the fruits for others. It is helping others and giving them fruits for eating. Paropakaraya phalanti vrikshaha. The second one says paropakara vahanti nadyaha. Nadya, nadi means river. Nadyaha means rivers. It's plural. Vahanti is flows. What for the river is flowing? Paropakaraya, to help others. In what way? It gives you drinking water. It provides water for the boats to go on it, navigation. And it is also feeding some water to the trees on the banks of the river. So the water is provided by the rivers to help others. Likewise, you have Paropakaraya Duhanti Gavaha. Gavaha means cows, plural. Gavaha is plural of cows. Duhanti is giving milk. The cow is not drinking its own milk, it's giving to others. So you get milk in the store, which is provided by the cows. So to help people drink it, it's providing milk. Paropakaraya dukhanti gavaha. The cows provide milk to help others. Paropakaraya artam idam shariram. We have a human body to also help others. In whatever way we can do, like you can help your mom, you can help your dad, and people are there to help each other. Paropakarartamidam shariram. This body is provided to help others. So it's a beautiful two-line verse, very nice with the meaning with it. Paropakaraya phalanti vrikshaha, paropakaraya vahanti nadyaha, paropakaraya dukhanti gavaha, paropakarta artamidam shariram. The trees yield fruits to help others, the rivers flow to help others, the cows give milk to help others. Likewise, we have our bodies to help others. So that is the meaning of this very nice two-line verse. Okay, let's go further. It is probably the last slide, I think, which is going to be the concluding prayer. It's a beautiful prayer. It's a very nice poetry with the words so beautifully lined up. It is actually a verse, a prayer for Ganesha. You know, we have Ganesh Chaturthi last week. Now, I chose this prayer because it's very beautifully rhyming. Agajanana Padmarkam Gajanana Maharnisham Adekadantam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe. You know, it's a very nice meaning. Ananam means face. Gaja Ananam means it is the face of an element. Gaja means elephant. That is why you have Gajanana. The elephant-faced Ganesha is called Gajanana. Gajanana is different meaning. Aga means mountain. Ja means a daughter, one who is the offspring of mountain. Who is it? Mountain here is Himalayas. Who is the daughter of mountain Himalayas is Parvati. Parvati also comes from Parvatam. Parvatam is mountain. Parvati is Ganesha's mother. You see in the picture, Ganesha's mother is holding Ganesha in her lap. She is the son of Parvati, who is the daughter of Himalayas, Agajanana. Padmarkam, when she looks at her son Ganesha, she is very happy. Like what? You know, Padma Arkam. Padma means lotus. Okay? You know, when the lotus flower, you see the sun, the lotus kind of blooms. It's very happy. So it blooms when looking at the sun. Likewise, Parvati, the mother of Ganesha and daughter of Himalaya mountain, when she looks at Ganesha, her son, Aharnisham. Aharnisham means Aharnisham means day and night. She is looking at him and she is so happy like a lotus, looking at the sun kind of blooming so nicely. Ganesha's mother is very happy to look at him day and night, and she is blooming like a lotus. You see the lotus flower there on top. So, Agajanana Padmarkam Gajanana Maharnisham means it is something which refers to the mother of Ganesha, who is Parvati. She's so happy to be looking at her son, and her face is blooming like the lotus looking at the sun. The second line, it says, Anekadantam Bhaktanam. One second, I think there's something went wrong. Okay. So Anekadantam here means, Dantam also means giving. So he's giving a lot of gifts and boons. So he says Anekadantam Bhaktanam. Bhaktanam means devotees. He's giving lot of boons to devotees. Ekadantam means one tusk. Now Ganesha has got one tusk broken, the other tusk is in big. So it's called Ekadantam. Upasmahe means I worship. I worship that Ganesha who has got one tusk, Ekadantam, to get many boons. Anekadantam Bhaktanam. He gives one who gives his devotees a lot of boons. Whatever you pray, he gives you. So it's a beautiful prayer. Agajanana Padmarkam Gajanana Maharnisham Anekadantam Bhaktanam Ekadantam Upasmahe. This is a prayer which you can memorize, and it's a beautiful verse. Now you know the meaning also of that. Okay. All right. Now we almost come to the end. I'm going to give you some little exercises here, which you need to do and give it to me next week. Like, Aham pashyami tvam tishtasi te vadanti tau smaravaha vayam hasamaha. Now, we already talked about this in the lesson, and you will be able to follow the lessons. You can answer it also very clearly. Okay. Now, having said that, I think we'll conclude it. I'm going to unmute you now. And let me unmute you. Rishabh, are you now clear in this lesson, or you have any questions?
I'm fine.
You are able to understand clearly?
Yes.
Very good, very good. What you do is as usual, I'll send you the recording. You have a review of it, and your dad and mom can help you if you have any questions. Okay?
Okay.
Very good. And you enjoy the evening, and I'll see you next week. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Hari Om.
Okay.
I'll end the meeting now. Okay?